Imagine this. It's 2008. The global economy is collapsing. Banks are failing. Investors are pulling out. And somewhere in California, one man is watching his entire future fall apart. Not because he made one bad decision, but because everything was going wrong at the same time. His rocket company had already failed 3 launches in a row. His electric car company was running out of cash. His personal fortune was almost gone. One more failure. Just one, and both companies would likely disappear. Today, that same man is known as the richest person on Earth. But here's the real question. How did he get from the edge of bankruptcy to building some of the most valuable companies in history? Was it luck? Was he simply born rich? Or was there a different way of thinking that changed everything? In this video, we're not looking for a magical secret formula, because there isn't one. Instead, we're going to break down 5 powerful principles behind Elon Musk's decisions. Ideas that helped shape companies like Tesla and SpaceX. And that can completely change the way you think about success, risk, and money. But first, let's go back to the beginning. Before the billions, long before the headlines, before Tesla, before SpaceX, before the private jets and rocket launches, Elon Musk was just a young entrepreneur trying to build something meaningful. He was born in South Africa. As a teenager, he became obsessed with computers, science, and books. Later, he moved to North America with one goal: to build companies that could change the future. His first startup wasn't glamorous. It was called Zip2, a simple online city guide. Nothing revolutionary by today's standards, but it taught him something priceless: how to solve real problems. A few years later, Zip2 was sold for hundreds of millions of dollars. For most people, that would have been the finish line. Financial freedom, a comfortable life, no more risk. But Elon Musk wasn't interested in comfort. He was interested in building something much bigger. And that decision would change everything. The bet that could have destroyed everything. After selling Zip2, most people would have slowed down. Elon Musk did the exact opposite. He started another company, an online financial service called XCOM. At the time, moving money over the internet sounded risky. Many people didn't believe it would ever become mainstream. But Musk believed the future would be digital. Eventually, XCOM evolved into what the world now knows as PayPal. Then came a life-changing moment. In 2002, PayPal was acquired by eBay. Elon Musk received around $180 million from the deal. For almost anyone, that would have been enough. Enough to retire. Enough to buy anything they wanted. Enough to never worry about money again. But Musk saw something different. He didn't ask, how can I protect this money? He asked, what's the biggest problem I can solve next? And that's where the first principle begins. Principle 1. Invest in the future, not your comfort. Instead of keeping most of his fortune, he poured nearly all of it into 3 incredibly risky companies: Tesla, SpaceX, and SolarCity. To many people, it looked completely irrational. Why risk everything after already becoming rich? Because Musk believed real wealth doesn't come from protecting money. It comes from building something valuable. But then, reality hit. Fast. By 2008, the world entered one of the biggest financial crises in modern history. Investors disappeared. Money became harder to raise. Tesla was burning cash. SpaceX had already suffered 3 failed rocket launches. Each failure cost millions of dollars. The pressure was unbearable. Musk wasn't living like a billionaire anymore. He later described running out of cash and having to borrow money for living expenses during that period. Everything he had built was hanging by a thread. Then came the 4th launch. Not just another rocket. It was the company's final chance. If this mission failed, SpaceX might not survive. Years of work, billions in dreams, gone. The countdown began. 3, 2, 1. The rocket lifted into the sky. This time, it worked. For the first time, SpaceX successfully reached orbit. Just days later, NASA awarded the company a major commercial contract. At nearly the same time, Tesla secured emergency funding that helped keep the company alive. Within a matter of days, everything changed. It's tempting to call this luck. But luck only had a chance because Musk stayed in the game long enough to see that opportunity arrive. That brings us to the second principle. Principle 2. Most people quit one step before their breakthrough. Persistence doesn't guarantee success. Sometimes, even your best effort can still fail. But if you quit before your final opportunity, you'll never know what might have happened. For Elon Musk, walking away would have guaranteed failure. Staying, at least gave success a chance. And that decision became the turning point of his entire career. But surviving the crisis wasn't what made SpaceX different. The real breakthrough came from something much deeper. A completely different way of thinking. a mental model that challenged almost every assumption in business. It's called first principles thinking, the thinking system that changed everything. Most people solve problems by asking, how has this always been done? Elon Musk asks a completely different question. What is actually true? That simple difference changed everything. This is called first principles thinking. Instead of accepting assumptions, you break a problem down into its most basic facts. Then, you build the solution from the ground up. Think about rockets. For decades, the aerospace industry believed one thing. Rockets are supposed to be expensive. It was treated like a law of nature. Almost nobody questioned it. But Elon Musk did. Instead of asking, how can we buy cheaper rockets? He asked, what is a rocket actually made of? The answer surprised him. Most of the raw materials, aluminum, titanium, copper, carbon fiber, together cost only a small fraction of the final price. So where was the rest of the money going? Years of manufacturing habits, complex supply chains, middlemen, old industry practices. In other words, not physics, just tradition. So SpaceX made a radical decision. Instead of buying most of its parts, the company would design and manufacture many of them itself. It wasn't easy. It took years. It came with countless setbacks. But over time, it dramatically reduced launch costs and helped SpaceX compete in an industry once dominated by governments and a few large contractors. That's the power of first principles thinking. Not accepting, that's how it's always been done. Instead asking, does it really have to be this way? And here's the interesting part. You don't need to build rockets to use this idea. Maybe you're starting a business, learning a new skill, trying to improve your finances, or solving a problem at work. The same question applies. Are you following reality? Or are you following assumptions? That's our third principle. Principle 3. Question assumptions before you accept limitations. Many of the limits we live with aren't laws of nature. They're simply habits repeated for so long that nobody questions them anymore. But Elon Musk wasn't finished. Even after changing the economics of rockets, he set his sights on something even bigger. Not one impossible goal, but several. Electric vehicles, space exploration, renewable energy, brain-computer interfaces, underground transportation. From the outside, it looked chaotic. Why would one person take on so many industries at once? The answer wasn't ambition alone. It was something much deeper. A single mission that connected every company he built. And that's where the next principle begins. Think bigger than the problem. Most successful entrepreneurs tell you to focus on one thing. One company, one product, one market. At first glance, Elon Musk seems to do the exact opposite. Cars, rockets, artificial intelligence, solar energy, brain-computer technology, underground transportation. It looks like a collection of completely different businesses. But look a little closer, and you'll notice something interesting. They're all connected by one idea: helping humanity build a better future. Tesla wasn't just about selling electric cars. It was about accelerating the world's transition to sustainable energy. SpaceX wasn't just another aerospace company. Its long-term vision was to make life multiplanetary. SolarCity focused on clean energy. Neuralink explores how humans and technology might work together in the future. The Boring Company aims to rethink urban transportation. Different industries, one mission. That's an important lesson. People don't just follow products. They follow purpose. When your mission is bigger than making money, the work becomes more meaningful. The setbacks become easier to survive. And the small wins become part of a much larger journey. That leads us to the fourth principle. Principle 4. Build a mission so big that today's problems become tomorrow's stepping stones. Notice something about Elon Musk's goals. He rarely asks, what's the easiest business I can build? Instead, he asks, what's one of the biggest problems humanity will face? Climate change, space exploration, artificial intelligence, transportation. Whether you agree with every decision he makes or not, his companies are built around long-term challenges. And that's powerful, because a big mission changes how you make decisions. You stop chasing quick wins. You start thinking in decades instead of months. But having a huge vision isn't enough. A mission still needs resources. Factories need to be built. Engineers need to be hired. New technology needs years of development. That raises an important question. How do you keep building without running out of money? The answer isn't what most people think. It It wasn't about collecting cash. It was about owning and growing assets. And that's the final principle behind Elon Musk's fortune. The real formula. When people hear that Elon Musk is worth hundreds of billions of dollars, they imagine giant bank accounts, private vaults, unlimited cash. But that's not how wealth works at this level. Most of Elon Musk's net worth isn't sitting in a bank. It's tied to ownership, primarily in companies like Tesla and SpaceX. That means when those companies grow, his net worth grows. When their value falls, his net worth can drop dramatically too. In other words, his wealth isn't just money, it's ownership of businesses. And that's where the fifth principle comes from. Principle 5. Don't just earn money, build assets that can grow without you. Many people spend their income. Some people save it. A smaller number invest it. But the wealthiest entrepreneurs often use their money to build assets that create more value over time. That's the power of compounding. Not overnight success. Not a secret shortcut. Years of consistent growth. Years of reinvesting. Years of patience. But before we end, there's something important we shouldn't ignore. Elon Musk's journey isn't a perfect success story. He's been criticized for his leadership style, for demanding extremely long work hours, for controversial public statements, and for making decisions that many people strongly disagree with. Not every risk paid off immediately. Not every prediction became reality. And not every part of his approach is worth copying. That's why this video isn't saying, be Elon Musk. It's saying, learn how great problem solvers think. Because success isn't about copying someone's personality. It's about understanding the principles behind their decisions. So, what are those principles? First, invest in the future instead of protecting your comfort. Second, stay in the game long enough to give success a chance. Third, question assumptions instead of accepting them. Fourth, choose a mission that's bigger than today's obstacles. And finally, build assets that can create value for years to come. Will these 5 principles make you the next billionaire? Probably not. There are no guarantees in business or in life, but they can help you think differently, make better decisions, and approach problems with a longer-term mindset. Sometimes, changing the way you think is the first step toward changing your future. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button. Subscribe for more deep dives into psychology, business, and the hidden thinking patterns behind extraordinary people. And tell me in the comments, which of these 5 principles challenged your thinking the most? Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.